Today we're going to be talking about the latest, greatest iPhone if it was 2019. That's right, we're going to be talking about the iPhone 11 to see if it's still worth it in 2023, and spoiler alert, it surprised me. In the spirit of transparency, yes, our friends from Digital Walker did send this over because they gave it a price cut. You can get it for a little over $25,000 until June 1, and they wanted us to test it out to see if it still holds up, but they had absolutely no say in my conclusions and my findings for this video. Now with that out of the way, let's dive in. How does the iPhone 11 perform in 2023? This is one of the parts that surprised me, but honestly, I should have seen it coming a mile away. The A13 Bionic chip at the heart of this iPhone still beats strongly, it still breezes through tasks, it handled multitasking easily, and while I don't really game as much anymore, I did try out the beginnings of Honkai Star Rail and it performed rather smoothly. Now, I'm gonna be honest, there were times where I experienced some lag while opening up new apps, but it happened so few and far between that I really didn't mind it when it happened. Now on to another important question, what about camera performance? Now this was another part where the wife and I were pleasantly surprised. You might not be getting all the exciting new features that they've added over the years, but the output speaks for itself. They're fantastic. You can capture precious moments and take shots for the gram. I don't know if you can still say that these days, but you get the point. The photos look incredible for a phone that was released a while back. It is worth noting though that in certain challenging lighting conditions, you do start to see the gap between the iPhone 11 and more recently released devices. I'm not saying that the night shots on the iPhone 11 look bad, but details can get a bit muddy when you start to pixel peep, but again, not a big deal. The videos that this phone produced still get the thumbs up from me as well. The footage I was able to take bringing this around for a movie date looked good and really stable. I did push it to see what it would look like at night, and once again, it surprised me with its output. Now, I've been raving about the iPhone 11 pretty much up to this point, but what are some of the things that I didn't like as much? Now, let me start off by saying that I am nitpicking here, but I do have to talk about its dated design. The build quality is still great, but those rounded edges just give it away. It's not a deal breaker by any means, and some of you might like the rounder frame on the iPhone 11 compared to the squared off shape of newer models, but this just wasn't my cup of tea. Then again, we do love slapping cases on our phones anyway, so I guess that's not a huge downside. Plus, our friends from Digital Walker are giving away a free one from Casetify if you do decide to pick up an iPhone 11 during the promo period. Now, one thing that also gives away that dated design on the iPhone 11 is the bezel of the screen, because they are thick. That's with a capital T and two C's. Again, not a huge deal, but a fact that's pretty hard to ignore. While we are talking about the screen, we're also getting an LCD panel here. It does get the job done, but if you've been subscribed to us for a long time, then you know that I'm a huge sucker for a good OLED panel, and this is my biggest gripe with the iPhone 11. You're still getting decent image quality, but for me, it just lacks that certain punch that I'm looking for. Lastly, let's talk about battery life. Did it get me through the day? It really depended on what I was doing, but more often than not, it did, but I did have to keep a power bank with me at all times since I didn't have the confidence that it could. Battery tech has just gotten better over the years, and while iOS is extremely optimized, that's just the way things go and something you have to take note of if you're planning to get an iPhone 11. So let's cut to the chase. Is it still worth getting an iPhone 11 in 2023? Well, that really depends on your priorities. What I love about iPhones and iOS is that it just works. Now, it might not have all the bells and whistles as the other offerings from the Android side of things, but in my experience, I always come back to my iPhone despite being able to test out all these new smartphones because it just works for me and my lifestyle. It's reliable, and that's exactly what you're getting with the iPhone 11, despite it being released way back in 2019. Yes, there are definitely faster phones with newer tech, but the iPhone 11 is a dependable option if you're looking to get a brand new iPhone on a budget. There are definitely some things that you have to take note of, but it's a well-rounded device. Now, if you're into the latest and greatest in tech, this has to be an automatic pass. Again, a huge shout out to our friends over at Digital Walker for sending this phone out to us to test out. Remember, their promo runs until June 1. I'll leave details in the description down below. But that's it for me. My name is Tito James. Peace, God bless. See you guys next time and stay safe.